Today I'm going to do a short video on how to replace my 2003 G35 stereo and center console piece. I got the Metra kit, and the reason I got this is because it's considerably cheaper than the JDM. When it comes with Crutchfield, we're using a coupon. This Metra kit cost me about $79 versus JDM is $300 for everything. As you can see, the fit and finish are fairly close, and what I want to try to do is put this nav system into this Metra kit, which there's some discussion about it not fitting, and it doesn't bolt right in. You have to make a few modifications, which I'm going to demonstrate today. The finish is fairly good. These are the pieces that came with the Metra kit, but I only used the faceplate and the pocket right here because I'm going to put in a single din. The fit and finish, fairly close, not exact. Mine is gray titanium. It looks pretty good. Notably is the cheaper buttons for the AC control system. Some people don't like it. I don't think it looks that bad. What I have here is my original unit with the nav system installed and everything in. Here's the original stereo head unit and CD player from the Bose system, and here's what I'm going to replace it with is my Kenwood system. This is how you put in the CD. It's a single din. Plenty powerful. I've already tested it out. Works great. It's a Bluetooth, so upgrading to Bluetooth and USB and everything else that I need. So the problem that people were having was is that the nav wasn't fitting. So I've got the nav system here. I'm just going to take it out real quick, and it's very heavy. And then I take the buttons out too. These are just screwed into the back. I want you to notice that there's a difference in the back here. The Metra kit didn't have two of the screws, so I did a modification, which I will show why I did it that way in just a little bit. That's one of the mods that has to be done. Okay, so the reason the nav doesn't fit in the Metra, some people think you had to clean this part here, file it, but that's going to be unsightly because you can see it. But what it really was this thing didn't fit all the way down. When it was original, it sat up about a 1/4 inch and set back. So what needs to be done is these corners just need to increase the radius of those, because this radius was not the same as the radius here. So I did that with a hand file. What you want to do, and you can see how I cleaned it up, you just want to gently file it away. It takes about 10 minutes, and you want to keep the file at an angle so you're carving into the back so that you don't damage the paint on the front. So just kind of carve it back. It'll take a few minutes, and keep fitting. Trial and error. Just keep fitting it until it fits perfect. And you can see that this one fits in fairly well. When it's in place, you can't even notice. It's a perfect fit, and it fits down lower. So I'm going to put this in. I'm going to screw it in real quick. Bear with me here because I just want to get this in. And there's two screws that hold it in, and they just screw it in. Be gentle. Make sure you get the right screws so you don't screw right through the face or mess up any of the threads in here. Here goes the second screw, and once you've got these down fairly snug, you want to turn it over and make sure, because you need to push it a little bit so that it gets just where you want it. There, you can see how nicely that fits. Once this is in and trimmed, like I said, it fits lower. Fits much lower. And now the original nav unit, which is very heavy, can go right in. Let me get this wire out of the way. Now this will just sit right in, and you can see it's a perfect fit, and it goes up and down no problem. The other thing is it didn't have a way to connect here, so I had to add a few things. What you have to do is you have to drill a couple of holes in the front. Now I know that might look unsightly, but don't worry. This trim piece, which comes with the original car, totally covers it. You'll never see the screws or where they were drilled. So what I did was I added a couple of blocks of plastic. And the reason being was because I didn't think any of this other stuff would fit, and the entire heaviness, the entire weight of this nav unit, I thought was going to be suspended off this trim piece. So I added these blocks. As it turned out, I didn't need to do that. You're still going to need a spacer that has to be about that thick. You can use anything. A couple of thick nuts would even work. But I added these, and it worked out pretty good. So I'm going to put this on real quick just to show you how everything goes together. These things go right through. like that. And then I had a couple of screws that went through. I made some nut plates once again to distribute the load. They're not actually nut plates, but they're kind of like big washers that I put in here to distribute the load as much as I could. Because once again, I thought that the unit was going to be totally suspended by this piece right here. And I'm not going to tighten it down because I don't want to take too much time in this video. But as you can see, these things fit right in here pretty nicely. And then once everything's down and tightened, you can see it's a perfect fit. You can't tell the difference from the stock system. And like I said, it goes up and down and it looks beautiful. There was one thing that I did notice because I was concerned about the weight of everything, and that was suspending everything. But then when I took this off, I realized that this fit right in and I could put my original stereo in. The Metra kit came with this little piece of plastic which was supposed to support everything. It's screwed in here with a couple of screws, but that's pretty flimsy. So when I took it apart, I realized, hey, this fits right in. These bolt holes were dimpled, so I had to hammer them flush because they wouldn't fit in with my stereo in the pocket. But after a quick check, I found out that everything fits. I had to do a little trimming on a couple pieces, but for the most part, it fit right in. Oops, I got a wire here. Hang on. Bear with me, this is the ground wire. And it goes to the chassis. Okay. There we go. You have to make sure everything goes in just right. There it is. It snaps right in. It goes down and the whole thing's together. So that's my system. And then with the stereo put in place, the stereo just fits right in here, and this is what it's going to look like when it's done with a single din. So that's what the single din looks like in the nav unit. And like I said, I just kind of held everything together, but it does fit and it does work, and it was a fairly cheap modification. That's it.